Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. My name is Mohammad Aidil bin Zainol, matrix nombor 060018. So in today's presentation of intro to IR, I choose international law CLO2 as my presentation topic. So first of all, what is international law? So international law is a system of treaties and agreement between nations that govern how nations interact with other nations, citizens of other nations, and also business of other nations. International law usually falls under two categories, which is public international law and private international law. So first of all, I will explain both of these categories. So first of all, public international law is a combination of rules and customs governing relations between states in different fields such as conflict, human rights, the sea, space issue, trade issue, territorial boundaries, and also diplomatic relations. And the other one is private international law. So private international law, also referred as conflict of laws, consists of rules which govern issues with an international component. For example, if a Chinese company want to sign a contract with United States, private international law would regulate the applicable law if that contract was violated. So after that, we will look into the subject of international law. So states are the primary subject of international law. However, international law can also regulate the actions of other entities, namely international organizations, non-state actors including national liberation movements and individuals, international non-governmental organizations, and multinational companies. All can be defined as subject of international law and can be considered as having legal personality. This means that they both have duties and rights provided for by international law. So after that, we will look into the sources of international law. So the norm and rules of international law are codified in a range of treaties and other materials. The main sources of international law, the first one is treaty law, such as the United Nations Charter and also the Geneva Convention. The second one is the customary international law, and the third one is the general principle of law recognized by civilized nation, seen as inspirational rather than direct sources of law. For example, we have principle like estoppel and equity, where every country recognize that principle. And lastly, we will look at the state responsibility. So one of the fundamental principles of international law provides that any state that violates its international obligation must be held accountable for its action. More concretely, according to the notion of state responsibility, states that do not respect their international duties are obliged to immediately stop their illegal actions and make reparation to the injured parties. The principle of state responsibilities form part of international customary law and is binding upon all states. Third states or other states also have an obligation not to assist other states who are violating international law and have legal duty under Common Article 1 of Geneva Convention to ensure respect for international humanitarian law. So that's all from me about international law. Thank you.